Well, doctors have issued a warning over the rising number of influencers glamorising pokie machines. It's a response to a new phenomenon on Instagram where videos show players inserting hundreds of dollars into machines and collating their wins into content without necessarily documenting all their losses.
Yeah, for more on this, we're joined by author and media personality Sammy Lucas and 7 News foreign editor Hugh Whitfield. Good morning to you both. Hugh, critics say it's essentially de facto advertising for gambling for the industry, but without the health warnings. Do you agree?
Yeah, and this is a big problem because when you look at pokies, there lots of colours, lots of magic, lots of noises, and it sounds like a great idea, but obviously we know that they're pretty damaging, particularly in communities where people are pumping money into these poker machines that they're never going to get back. But it's a big problem for governments and lawmakers because television, for example, is highly regulated in terms of what can be advertised and the messages that can be put across. But social media is just the Wild West, and these influencers aren't being sanctioned. They don't follow rules or anything like that most of the time. So they aren't sticking to the line about the damage that pokies can do to your family, to your community.
Yeah, it's kind of sneaky, isn't it? Because I'm sure that poker machine operators know exactly what they're doing. Kids are watching this content. Sammy, what can we do about it?
When did this become a thing? I mean, you blink and then suddenly there's a new social media trend. And what on earth is going on where influencers who are like in their 20s and teens are suddenly into pokies? It's ridiculous.
Because they'll be getting paid.
Yeah.
They'll do anything for the money.
The really serious issue here is in this report, the Victorian government is saying that the cost of gambling to the community in Victoria has doubled in the last 10 years. It now costs something like $14 billion, with a B, $14 billion to the economy, and that is to the communities, and that is devastating families. I think the only positive thing, if we can call it that, about all of this is that social media has this habit of promoting the latest stupid, ridiculous, often dangerous trend, and then everyone's going to be sick of the Pokies Challenge and we'll be back on the couch talking about something equally ridiculous in a couple of weeks.
Back to planking. Yeah. Let's move on. West Australian music chief executive Owen Whittle has taken aim at people who move into urban areas, then complain about noise from live music venues. He says noise complaints are the greatest issue facing the industry right now. Sammy, has he got a bit of a point here?
Well, do you know, live music or venues like this have been on life support since COVID, and the live music industry is struggling in this country. So I am a huge supporter of the arts community, the entertainment industry, and I think we should do anything we can to keep these venues open. I think if you're already living in your home and then someone decides to build an open-air live music stadium right next door to you, it's reasonable that you're going to have some concerns. But if you're moving to an area where there is already an established live music venue, which is often what brings that atmosphere and energy to your community, it's not reasonable for you then to complain about the noise. It's like moving to the airport and then complaining about the sound of the noise. I think the big issue here is with the housing crisis, developers are making new builds in these areas. It's up to the developers to make sure that those apartments are soundproofed or have adequate soundproofing for the people living there.
And to be fair, the venues always put up those nice signs, please be respectful of our residents as you're departing the venue.
Who does that? Hugh, what do you think?
I could see you leaving the venue at 3 a.m. with your kebab in your hand going, time, what does that sign say?
Please be respectful. In a streaming-dominated world, I mean, live music venues, they're essential for musicians if they want to have gigs. I mean...
Absolutely. I kind of find it hilarious when someone moves next door to a pub or a club and then starts complaining about the noise. What did you expect was going to happen? These places are noisy and they're part of living in a vibrant, big city often, or a small country town where that's the lifeblood of the community. If you don't want to live near somewhere there's going to be a bit of noise, then you're going to have to find somewhere else, because if we've got people shutting down live music venues and pubs and clubs, or people just having a good time, then it's not really worth living in a big city if you don't have that vibrancy.
And you don't hear them complaining, do you, when they're right next to the Taylor Swift concert and didn't have to pay for tickets and yet can sit on their verandas and hear it? Because you see them pop that up onto social media as well, like, ooh, enjoying the free concert.
You frighten me when you go into nasty resident voice. Oh, you didn't see that. You frighten me a little bit.
With a kebab in hand.
That's not being a nasty resident. That's just saying you don't see them whinging then. They like it.
Or if you live next to a football stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you live next to Kylie Gillies when the Swannies win.
Yeah, that's right, very noisy. Finally, a new survey by taste.com.au has found that the Aussie dining table is losing its relevance. Only 54% of respondents eat at a dining table most of the time, with that group dominated by baby boomers. 27% eat dinner on the couch, 19% go to their bedroom, while 10% don't
What
make
was that voice?
Well,
19%
you're not
go to
making
the
dinner
bedroom.
and then going and eating it in your bedroom, are you?
Well,
Unless you're in-
19% of our viewers do,
Well,
Kylie.
maybe if you live in a share house, you might do that. 10% don't make it past the kitchen bench. That's actually preferable to going into the bedroom, I
Yeah.
would have thought. But what do you think, Hugh?
I don't like the idea of food in the bedroom. I think that's a big no-no. The kitchen bench I get, particularly for like
Yes.
breakfast or lunch when you're on the run, you're doing a couple of things. You know, there might be other people in the house,
And
might be
stools,
kids around.
you have stools around the
at
bench, yeah.
You know, sit down and enjoy it together. But there's something special about sitting around the dining room table, but ultimately it shouldn't necessarily be so special that it's something that happens on a special occasion. You know, sitting down and discussing the day, that should be what we're all aiming for instead
one's
of
doing that.
staring at the one direction.
On.
Do you have a big dining room table or do you eat in your bedroom, Sammy?
I have a confession. Last year, at the age of 54, bought my first ever dining table.
Oh, I thought
First one
you know
I've
what I thought?
ever...
I was so worried you're going to say I bought my first ever eat in bed table.
Oh no, one of those.
Little.
You look like you're doing like in the
What were
hospital.
they called?
You're
Those
the ones
things
that come
with
up
the
like that.
soft thing. But look, I don't even use my dining table as a dining table. I use it as my desk for my sort of essentially my office. I'm shocked that 54% of Australians are still eating their dinner at the table. How is only 27% of us eating on the couch? Shouldn't that figure be like 90%? Or is that just me? No? Anyone else eat their dinner on the couch? No?
Yeah, no,
On the dining table
There's
or
a lot
couch?
of people watching this show now who will be eating their breakfast or their brunch watching this show.
Yeah,
On the
which is
couch.
nice.
We
Do that.
appreciate
Continue
you.
doing that.
Enjoy yourself.
Where do you guys eat yours?
At the dining table.
Every night.
Not on like weekends. We probably, it depends what's on or whether the boys are home.
This will horrify you. You know what Kylie does?
with
She puts out the
husband.
placemats for dinner, right? And then after dinner, washes the placemats, take them off, and then puts them back on the
Do you
table.
remember me saying that?
Do you?
I was horrified. I was like,
So you've got permanent
why wouldn't you
placemats?
possibly just
No,
leave them there overnight so they get a good night's
Because
sleep?
no,
on
you
the
got to put them away. But no,
Oh.
this was back when, like, for the getting ready for breakfast when the kids were younger. Now they just do their own thing.
But why do you need to take the placemats off and at night and put them back on in the
This
morning?
is angry resident Larry now. We've had angry
Anyway,
resident
we'll discuss
Kylie.
that. We'll discuss that off.
No, why? I don't understand.
Because you have to put them away. Because you don't want them just...
You've been schooled, Larry.
Somebody play the psycho music quickly. Thank you, guys. So take them away.
Sorry,
Put your
I didn't mean to
placemats away.
start
Usually
that.
put them away.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you
In the
put them away at
drawer.
night and then put them
Thank
back
you.
out in the morning.
Not in the not till we need.
Yeah,
them.
no one does that.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
get it, though. I understand
Thank you,
where you're coming
Hugh.
from.
Thank you, Hugh.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm
Sammy.
sorry I started that.
Congrats on your dining room table, by the way.
I know, yeah, me. Remember that.
Because it was so creepy.